Hey, it's Jay Graham at Infinite Design.
Hey, this is Jean.
And today we're bringing you a tutorial on making the low poly style painting from an image in Illustrator. First thing you want to do is pick an image. What do you want to recreate? You could pick anything, an animal, or maybe an inanimate object, or a photo of your lover, whatever tickles your fancy.
Tickle.
Import your image into Illustrator and resize it up as necessary. In the transparency window, drop the opacity to something between 30 and 70%. I'll be doing a symmetrical drawing, so I only have to do half the wolf, and that saves me some time. Okay, it's time to get serious with the wolf. Grab your pen tool and let's start drawing paths, but be sure to fully close each path. To start a new path, control-click anywhere off a finished path. It will deselect. But I found this failed 3 or 4 times, so I needed to hit Shift plus Control plus A to force a deselection. You may have to do this, or you may not. I don't know.
I didn't do that at all.
Not even once.
No, not even once.
It's time to channel your artistic talent. Do you stick to drawing just triangles? It's up to you. If you allow yourself a few quads, a few hundred n-gons, that's okay, but just know that this leads to more work in the end, because there's more to fix. I find the more you have multifaceted polygons, the better the detail. But all art is a battle between time spent and detail. The more time you give it, the higher the detail and the better it tends to look.
Less is more.
That's true.
Step 1 in preventing the gaps between your shapes is to always aim to put new path anchors along existing path anchors. This leads to better snapping and also better averaging. I have a cleanup section on this later. For now, try to do your best to aim anchor for anchor. I did not concern myself with edge flow as you might do with a 3D model. Instead, I'll focus on capturing as much detail of the fur pattern as possible.
Later, I concerned myself with edge flow.
You know what they say, the eyes are the windows to the soul. I recommend putting as much detail as possible into the eyes, as it will really bring out the life in your artwork.
Unless you're doing a low poly apple.
Apple.
There's no eyes on an apple.
I jump around to different parts when my brain gets bored of seeing the same area.
Do know that if you're going to animate in Cinema 4D, do not paint your paths out of order. Imagine the order you want them to animate. Make sure you paint them as such. Otherwise, you're going to have a ton of fixing to do later, like I will.
Are you gonna put the Cinema 4D recording at the end of this one?
No, it's going to be a second video.
Oh.
It'll be like, bonus, do you want to do this or not? You don't have to.
It helps to turn on some great music and just blaze through the tedious parts.
Is this not the most tedious part, or is it the coloring?
Oh, well. Looks like you're having fun. Well, my Fox one, I was strict to triangle shape, but yours, like, you have so many different type of polygon shape.
I'm limitless in my polygon shape.
So what, have you like planned to do that, or just go with the flow?
I'm just copying the fur patterns. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm thinking. Because I'm doing such high poly, I guess I should have called it high poly or medium poly.
It's still not high poly.
Well, it's not low poly. Mid poly. Call it mid poly.
As hard as it may be, try not to worry about the way the white lines look. None of those will be visible in the end, I promise.
Wow, can you believe so many paths? That's crazy. 800
That's
plus.
crazy.
800 plus. And then if you duplicate and flip for the other side, it's near insanity. Definitely not low poly.
Step 2 in preventing the gaps between your shapes.
Oh, those naughty little gaps.
I turn off the source image layer and create a new layer below it. I draw a gray square behind so I can see my line art a little bit better. I create a different shortcut for the average command. I chose Ctrl A, overriding select all, which I very rarely use. And if I do use it, I can find it in the toolbar along the top. If you have trouble seeing the anchors, try selecting all the line art. Under the stroke menu along the top, you can change the line size by reducing the point to below 1.0.
You don't need to change, trust me.
Because I just undid it later.
And now, on to fixing those gaps. Zoom in and find where you missed drawing anchor points on top of anchor points. Grab your direct selection tool and select all the anchors, then average it, baby. Average will move the selected points closer together, averaging the distance. If you don't like where Illustrator moves the anchors to, you can manually move them. Just select the direct selection tool, select the anchors, click and drag. Average will fail to remove the gaps when one of the intersecting paths does not have an anchor point. You need to add an anchor point in these situations, but I'll tackle that in a bit.
You can see I moved a lot manually because if one of them doesn't have an anchor, you can kind of still cheat. But
Can you just add a one anchor point and re-average?
yes, that would be the best way to do it.
Finally, it's time to add color. Besides finishing a project, this is my favorite part. To add color, first return your source image to full opacity. Pick the path you want to color and click it with the selection tool. Now click I on the keyboard to get the eyedropper tool and pick the color inside that path from the underlying source image. Click the selection tool again, select the next path you want to color, click I on the keyboard again, and pick the next color. It's just rinse and repeat till all your color's in. While coloring, I'm having a difficult time selecting new paths. So I return all the line art to one point so it's easier to click.
See, I told you, you don't have to change. Look at that tiny polygon.
Well, you know what they say, bigger isn't better.
Not putting that in.
Oh, yes I am.
As for what color goes where and how closely you copy your source image, it's up to you. It's time to test your artistic license here.
Can you buy an artistic license online?
You have to born with it.
Ooh.
Actually, you can train. You can train hard. You can born with it and you don't develop it, train it, practice it, whatever. You don't do that. It slowly goes away.
I think this eyeball needs more detail. What do you think?
Less is more, once again.
But in the eye, less is never more.
I think that's enough.
Once you add color, it will get in the way of moving anchor points should you want to adjust them. From now on, you'll need to go into outline mode.
Outline mode activated.
Control Y gets you into outline mode, and Control Y gets you out of outline mode. Step 3 in preventing gaps between your shapes. I need to average the remaining paths to eliminate gaps, but one of the intersecting paths is missing an anchor point. I need to add that anchor point to get a better average command. Under the pen tool, choose Add Anchor and click where you need it to be. Now select all the anchors and we'll get a flawless average.
Flawless.
If you want to add more paths or change existing ones, do what you gotta do. As you see here, I decide to add more detail to the eye because it seems a bit lacking.
More detail. Told you less is not more. More is more.
Is that a highlight? That tiny triangle on the eye?
Yeah.
Oh,
So, reflection of light on the pupil.
I didn't do that.
My picture actually had that, so that's probably why.
You may want to work on edge flow a bit.
See, edge flow time. Edge flow time.
Using the direct selection tool, click and drag multiple points around. Follow your heart to find that perfect look. Now back to the coloring. It really is nice to see this come together.
Looks like one click every polygon.
I just know what color I want. I know how I want it, when I want it, and why I want it. Look at that, I just drew a couple polygons that were actually already there, but I just couldn't select them, so I thought they were there. Later on, I'd have to delete those.
Yeah, that happened to me as well. It's sometimes hard to see.
It's okay though, you just have a path underneath a path.
Yeah,
As long as one has color and that one is on top, who cares?
no problem.
Yeah, who cares?
Oh, that's a nice wolf. Very majestic. Just murderously hungry. I can't tell which.
Oh, I'm going with murderously hungry. As I finish up, there are some paths that I did not draw and some that got deleted. Simply pen tool them in and let's finish this bad boy up. With the coloring done, examine how the colors work with each other and make sure you're happy. I decided to change some of my colors. First, I dragged my source image over to the side so I could see it and my target color. Outline mode won't help much with this process because it hides the colors and we need to see them. So select the color you want to change and use the eyedropper tool to pick the new color from your source image. Or you can double click a color in the toolbar and bring up the color picker and change to any color that way. Live and learn. Tweak your color selections until you're happy. My art requires that I copy and mirror half to the other side. This requires the reflection command. You will find reflect in the object menu under the transform submenu. Once mirrored, select all and grab an anchor point in the middle and snap it to its mirrored cousin for that perfect center.
What's the next step?
The next step is my favorite step.
Export.
Save and export.
Save and export. You only saved once so far.
I save it. I saved it periodically, as you should.
And we're done, and it looks awesome.
That looks great.
I couldn't agree more.
Time to export a PNG image. Select 400 ppi or higher.
Wow, I did
Here
300.
and choose Art Optimized. This is a must. Where you go from here, only your heart knows.
Follow your dreams.
But remember, you are infinite and you can do anything. If you bought this tutorial, you have the right to use the art however you like. Modify it and sell it and do whatever. As a thank you for supporting us, it is our gift to you. You also get our original song called Low Poly to stream, broadcast, or use in your game, or however you like. Now that's awesome. And if you do something with the art, we'd love to see it. Don't be afraid to email us. Thanks for checking us out and stay tuned for more.
Get those gorgeous products. You gotta go to Society 6, buy some stuff.
Buy many stuff. Support the little guys.
Support a poor starving artist. Thanks for watching.